the light of day will show that this is evidence-less conspiracy building done, to fuel, mouth breathers like Sean Hannity and to excite the Republican activist base.
Yes. Now, what I call that is the Jedi mind trick by the Democrats. There is nothing to see here. Don't look any further. Nothing to see. Nothing going on. There are the 50,000 text messages, the 5 months worth of stuff, the fact that we know that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page hated Trump and referred to him as an idiot and talked about a necessary insurance plan if somehow he should possibly be elected. That never happened, okay? Joining us now to weigh in on the conversation is former governor of New Hampshire, former chief of staff to George H.W. Bush, Mr. Governor Sununu himself. John, welcome to the program.
Good to be back, Bill. How are you today?
I used to think maybe we'd run out of things to talk about one day. Apparently not, John. This is how can the Democrats dismiss it? This is not a way of dealing with what facts, not opinion.
Look,
facts are on the table.
In the last couple of weeks, in the texts that have been released, there is more evidence of collusion between the FBI and, frankly, the Hillary Clinton campaign than they found in a year when they were accusing the Trump campaign of colluding with the Russians. It's unbelievable what was going on amongst the leadership of the FBI. While the good men and women of the FBI were doing good work, this handful of folks at the top were mucking around, and I think that's an appropriate word, mucking around in a way, to undermine the election process in the United States by figuring out what they called at one point an insurance policy and gathering after the election off-site. We have had at least hints that there were off-site meetings of this, quote, secret society.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing all these reports of secret society and, 5 months of missing text and all this collusion between our top investigative and law enforcement agency here in the country, and it reads almost like some Robert Ludlum novel. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. Can you guys imagine if this involved a Democrat president in which, a Republican sitting president authorizes the spying on the opposition party campaign, and actually, as it's becoming clear, at least what I think is in the memo, and most people do, is that the spying of the Trump campaign was based upon some dossier that was paid for by the Democrat nominee. I mean, if this was reversed and we had the FBI having some secret society to go after a Democrat, what would be happening?
Well, Andrea, you've touched right on it. Unfortunately, there's a lockstep in the general media out there to refuse to even touch on this subject in any constructive way. And so you folks at Fox and others have to keep pounding at it until there's enough facts on the table that there's just no way the rest of the media can resist it. This is the hard work of trying to make sure that we don't let them slide this one under the table and be forgotten.
Right, so, the Washington Post has a moniker which puzzles me, Democracy Dies in Darkness. I don't quite get where the Post gets putting that on its masthead, but it is true. It's just that the Post seems to be one of the biggest practitioners of the art of darkness, if you will. Why aren't there calls, John? Shouldn't there be calls for there to be investigations?
The irony of all this is the Washington Post has great experience in colluding with FBI leadership. Remember, Mark Felt was #2 at the FBI, was upset that he hadn't been named #1, and so he became deep throat for Woodward and Bernstein. And so the Washington Post knows all about playing games and playing footsie with leadership at the FBI to undermine a presidency.